Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Marcy, and this is my artsy fartsy creations. I delve into many forms of arts, and today's first video is going to be acrylic fluid painting, and it will be a Dutch pour. Now let's try to get this camera to sit just a little bit stiller. I don't think that's going to happen. So to begin with, we have Paul Rubens brand of paint. It is a hard body, heavily pigmented paint. It is acrylic. And we have titanium white, lamp black, deep purple, ultramarine blue, excuse the mouth, can't get things straight sometimes, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and phthalo blue. We also have lavender metallic powder from Iran. These are all mixed with my special blend of medium. It contains Elmer's glue wall, and that is backwards up there. I don't know how to flip that, but hopefully it won't be so bad for you guys to see. We use glue wall in pour painting because it is a binding agent, which means it helps the pigments within the paints and the metallic powders to adhere to each other, become less fragmented when you add other ingredients, such as water. That being said, water is also part of, and it is filtered water. Only filtered water or distilled water, because tap water has impurities that can damage your painting. The next ingredient is Floetrol. It is a latex paint extender. It is not a binder. It allows you to use less paint and be able to cover more surface in a more fluid manner. And then we have, I don't have the can anymore because I decant it into containers, but we have Minwax water-based acrylic crystal clear satin varnish. Those are the four main ingredients I use in my pouring medium. Now, if I need my paints to dry slower, please excuse the noise, that's one of my dogs. If you need to have your paints dry a little bit slower because you have cracking issues, then what you can add 1 to 2 drops of to every ounce of mixed paint is what's called vegetable glycerin. I use the brand Now, as you see. It is very inexpensive, but in the long run, it just saves your paintings from cracks and separation from drying too unevenly. All right, let's get these things moved up out of the way before we begin. Sorry, I'll probably try to edit this part out once I learn how to use the editor I downloaded. I'm all new to this whole videotaping thing, so please forgive me if I make a few goofs with it. Now my plan is, this is a 3-part video, because it is a 3-part painting. And it is going to be a nighttime wave. Now I don't know if you've ever checked it out, but you can search for the famous Japanese wave painting. And this is what people have been trying to bring out for themselves in their paintings. Now the tools I use are very simple, actually, when it comes to a Dutch pour. One item you need is definitely a blowtorch or a heat gun. I use a blowtorch mostly. This one is refillable. It does not use the canisters like some do. I don't use those type because they are dangerous. Those canisters can come loose. This one is definitely flame adjustable, as you can see with the little slider button here. And this one is very simple operation. It is just like you would use an actual lighter, one click. Sometimes I need the aid of a palette knife. This is a plastic one. It's purely simple. They're inexpensive. You can pick them up from most any place that sells a few art supplies. Mostly I get the main portion of my supplies from Amazon because I live in a very small town that has not much in it for shopping. All right, now I have forgotten to grab my blow dryer. Give me one moment, please. I'll be right back. I did realize that you probably might have trouble hearing me in this video because I do not have an external mic. So I'm trying to speak up as loud as I can while my husband has gone to bed for work in the morning. And now, before I get the blow dryer out to show you all the way, this is the heat gun I use. I use it mainly for resin. It helps to pop the bubbles without destroying your molds. All right, now, my normal blow dryer for larger paintings is this. It was inexpensive. It is called Jinri brand, so it's not a major brand. I do have the cool setting button that does not stay on. You have to keep it depressed in order to get the cool air. I have it tied up so that it is always in on position. It does have a high setting and a low setting, and for small paintings like this is an 11 by 14. You need to keep it on low unless your paint isn't moving the way you want it to go, and you just put it back up on high. This tip here, it's called a concentrator. This is what we use to keep a thin flow of air. And then for other paintings, and sometimes parts of the ones I use the big blow dryer on, I use this wonderful little gadget. It is the world's smallest blower. It does not have a heat setting. It has a simple little blower. It is not extremely powerful, and you want that when you need to really restrict the flow you get. This is the little power button. This is not the original tip that came with it. I purchased a set of 3 tips off of someone on Etsy, and they work wonderful. This is, and I think actually this is the one that belongs on it. One moment, and I'll show you the set I got for that. Yeah, that's the original nozzle. So on Etsy, you can find these 3 nozzles. They come in 3 concentrator sizes. This one here, a medium, and a wide. They work wonderfully, and they're very interchangeable. You just twist this off, and then put this on, and twist it. This is USB powered, so it has stronger flow than the green one that is sold. I did not purchase the green one because the green one has had a tendency to have fire happen. It is battery operated, and it is, in my opinion, too unsafe to use. All right, now I just got to clear this all up and be right back. Okay, this is part 2 of the beginning. I didn't know that this thing does, that it shuts off like it does when you kind of hit the power button without turning off, you know, just to put it to sleep. But that's all right. I will figure out how to edit it all together. All right, we are ready to begin. Now, as I said, this is going to be for a midnight wave. So therefore, I will need darker colors and some lighter colors like the white, as it has, you know, it's going to have a moon setting, hopefully. Now remember, this is fluid art. It doesn't listen to you, you listen to it. And so whatever the painting wants to be, it will be. So we're going to begin with pouring on a little bit of black. Now this is the first time I have used this brand of paint, and mixing it was a challenge. Some of the colors are, how do I say, chunky. They're not exactly smooth. They have chunks of the pigment, and they didn't either, well, they either didn't emulsify it enough, or, I don't know, I've never seen chunky in an acrylic paint or an oil paint or any other kind of paint unless it wasn't emulsified well. So we begin by just pouring on what we need to pour on. Now this is lamp black. It's a very heavy black, which means very well pigmented. It's going to at sometimes swallow your colors. So you have to be very choosy when you put this on. And then we're going to go with a little bit of the lavender mica powder. Metallic powder, excuse me, it is not mica. So we're just going to shake it, sort of. We don't want to introduce too many air bubbles into anything. Now these are done for fluid Dutch pour, which means they're thinner than for, say, a layered cup, and much thinner than for the Dutch bloom everybody has seen. Now, we're going to give this a shot and hope for the best. It's a little bit of lavender, and apparently it didn't want to mix very well either. So, we'll just work with it a little bit. Hope this isn't disturbing my husband a whole lot. And we're going to go with the deep purple. And this is pretty much all I ever do, is I just mix up what I need or think I need, hopefully a little bit more, so I don't have a problem having to remake at the same time. Now, the area that I'm doing right now is for the sky portion. And this is all I'm going to be doing at this point right now. As soon as I get done with this portion, I will let this dry for the most part, which will take a day or 2. And unfortunately, I'm using a canvas board. Canvas boards have a tendency to warp when you put very liquidy, moistured paints on it. They're normally used for brush painting. All right, I'm going to make a little bit of noise, and I will try to mute that in the editing. I'm going to start it on low first. And because well, that's not going to work too well. That's actually turning out better than I'd hoped. Now what I need to do is add a little bit more, because my intent is to have the sky come down a little bit more here. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the same colors. And we'll just do it from here. And yeah, I think that'll do it. we'll do it in the same manner and in the same order. I didn't use the phthalo blue in it, but that's all right. I think these colors are doing just fine on their own. All right. Sorry about the noise, but here we go again. That definitely turned out better than I had hoped. The big problem will be to see what happens when it dries. Unfortunately, I cannot do anything more at this time because I do have to wait for it to dry. So, for now, I guess that'll be it, and I will come back in a day or two and finish this up. Stay tuned. Hello again. This is the next morning, and the paint has actually thoroughly dried and is ready for me to begin the second portion of this painting. So, what I need to do is I need to put a moon in here. So now I need to determine where the moon needs to go. And the reason for the moon is because I put white in here to show a lightening in the sky. So this is a moonlit night. And the moon has to go somewhere in here to make it seem reasonable that there's a brighter part of the sky that you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my medium, my pouring medium. I'm shaking it up, which will probably introduce bubbles. Now, I tried experimenting with a way to do this last night. And I sort of come up with something really pretty. And as with all fluid art, it probably will not work out the same way. So I am going to set down my pouring medium in a space where I am going to put the moon. Now I think the moon would look real pretty right about here. I am hoping. Now I don't have great studio lighting, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to see of the dark things, but now we just take the pouring medium and we're going to put it right in here. We don't want the moon too large, but we do want it to be in a good place. Now this pouring medium dries absolutely clear and with a satin finish. So all the paint that I'm going to put on top of it is going to be kind of like the Shelly Art bloom. And it's not exactly going to be blown out like a balloon, like a Shelly Art bloom, because that's not my intent. I don't want it to look like a flower. So I do see bubbles, and so this is where the torch comes in handy. And very quickly, very lightly, don't let the flame touch. You just skim over it with the flame. Now, the colors that's going to be used will again be some black, some white, and a little bit of purple, and a little bit of phthalo blue. Let's give it a shot and hope for the best. And the reason why I let this dry is because if I goof, I can wipe this off and start it over again. So this is the purpose behind that. Now, a little bit of black dropped here and there. We don't want too much black because it'll take over everything. And what good is a black moon? You wouldn't be able to see it. Now, we use a little bit of the white, and we drop it in. Because white is going to be your predominant color. Then we add a little bit of the purple, and drop it on there. And before this painting gets finished, as I plan on using the purple in part of the ocean, I'm probably going to have to mix some more purple. Now comes the phthalo blue. And the reason why I'm adding this is because it adds a little bit lighter mark to it. Now, we don't use the large blower for this. That would not suit our purposes. We want to use the world's tiniest blower. And I'll get it up here real quick. I have the medium-sized tip on it. Now, last night I figured out that the medium-sized tip is not the best for blowing this portion out. So we remove that, and we put the smaller tip on. And again, sorry for the noise, but unfortunately, it comes with the territory, and I will try to edit it out with a mute or something else to cover it. Here we go. Now we want to begin blowing. Oh my goodness, let's turn the switch on. There we go. From the middle, in, out, in, out, in, until we mix it a little bit, and then we blow outwards, and outwards, because we want the moon in the middle. We don't want to leave too much of this liquid on the top, but we do want to spread it out just a little bit. Now remember, the pouring medium goes clear when it dries. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more white to this. Just a little bit. So that the primary, being the moon, gets in the middle here. All right, here we go again. And the rest of it just adds that cloudy effect. Now, I do want to add a little bit more purple. Not exactly a little bit, but we want it to blend a little bit more with the background. And sometimes taking this back and forth helps tremendously in creating special effects. Now, of course, nothing dries the color you see when your paint is wet. Not one single thing. So what you do is understand that since the pouring medium is a clear base, that your paints will always dry the color that they were when you first took them from the tubes. Now, I do have to blow this out a little bit more because it does need to sort of blend a little bit better. Or another technique, instead of blowing it out more, we can use our fingers. Now, usually I have gloves, and I'm going to go ahead and put just one on for this purpose. I don't use the gloves because I'm afraid of a mess on my hands. I use the gloves to keep any oils from my hands from transferring to the painting. And the reason why you don't want it to transfer to the painting itself is because if you plan on putting a top coat, such as varnish or resin, you have issues with oil. And the oil does not allow things to settle properly. So nothing cures the proper way. So now we just take this and blend it outwards. Just a little bit. Take it off the edge as necessary. Now doing this also helps to create a better background blend. And this is exactly what we need to do. So we are doing that. Now, as you can see, I don't have as much paint puddled up, and it is blending nicely. And we're going to bring it out into the ocean area, the wave area, just a little bit, so we don't get that harsher line. We just want to cover it a little bit. Okay. That is part 2 and done. Next will be the ocean. Now I can choose to allow the paint to dry so that in case I do a goof, which for me is par for the course, I can wipe it off without affecting the rest. So I think, though, that since the paint dried as well and as quickly as it did, like I said, remind yourselves that I did mention I've never worked with this brand of paint before. So there's the tendency to want to err on the least problematic side. So what we're going to do, I got to cap my purple real quick. So the plan is to get the wave to come from here and then circle up and come down into the painting, as you can see. So let's give that a shot, I guess, which means we begin with darker colors down here because it's the bottom, basically, of the wave, which is closer to the darker section of the ocean. And that being done, I will use a slight bit of that black, which, you don't usually see black in a painting for an ocean, but there is a reasoning for that. Oh, you can't see this portion, okay. I gotta raise my camera up just a little bit, and I'll move this around as I need to for you to be able to see. I just am working with my tablet at this point. And unfortunately, there we go, we got a little bit better. Unfortunately, I don't have money for a true video cam, but that's soon to be hopeful in the future. Okay, so we've got a little bit of black down here. Now, the next one is the next darker color. Now, that would be this lavender. I didn't see anything lavenderish about it, so hopefully when I use it for resin, I will be able to see lavender. But the color that it does come out here will work fine for down in the ocean bottom. We just add a little bit here, a little bit there. And we only want it towards the corner because that's going to be the deeper section. And maybe just bring out a little bit here. Now comes your deep purple. And we, of course, want to integrate that as well as we can. And then, of course, we want to extend these colors, more ocean-type style, up into the wave a little bit. The other colors will be the phthalo blue. This little guy right here, I like this color a lot. Although it does not seem to have the same blueness as other brands. And we just want to keep continuing up a little bit up into here with this, a little bit everywhere in here. And maybe we'll cover up part of this with it. Now comes the next dark color, which would end up being the ultramarine. I don't know why I have a problem with that silly little word. We want to bring it in here, just like this, as much as we can. because this is a slightly more predominant wave color. So we just want to bring it in, get enough of it in here to make a difference. All right. Yes, we go through a lot of what seems like a lot of paint, but since it is mixed, it is not exactly that much paint. And now we finish this off on the blues with a cobalt blue, much brighter than the rest, less purplish. And the final color will be the white, or the waves. Now I do put on a lot for the simple reason of blending as you go. Now we put the white on. And just sparingly enough, so as not to completely lighten up all the other colors. All right, comes a little bit of torching. And yes, I have paper, and yes, it does concern me at times I'm aiming a flame at paper, but I have a ton of water available for me, just in case. All right, now comes the large blow dryer. Okay, since the wave begins at the bottom, we begin at the bottom. All right, hold on to your hats. Here comes that lovely loud sound. And I'm going to start pushing backwards first with the blow dryer, and we're going to begin. So here we go. Okay, my finger hit that. Trying to turn it. So release a little bit more of the cord for more freedom of movement. All right, so I need to add a little bit more white now so that I can bring the foaminess up. I am not using any oils to create cells. I don't want cells in this painting. And I stopped using oil for cells. Instead, I've gone to a slightly more different approach with different densities of paint because it had to be oil-free for me. Okay, we'll give this a shot now and hope my plan works out. Still a little too much paint on here. So I'm going to blow it back off a little bit. And I'll see if I can try getting that crest in here. Okay, I do have to add just a little bit more. So here we go. And I don't expect it to come out the way I envision it. I learned that a long time ago. Stop expectations, and you won't be disappointed. I'm going to have to move the canvas down some. Now, since I don't want the bottom of the canvas board all gooey, I have learned this nice little trick. We lift like this, and then we slide some extra paper toweling under here. We grab another one and do the same. Now I use the normal sized paper towels, and then we're going to lift this little guy up here, and I'm going to bring it down. Oh, look at that, I spilled over onto my table. Typical for me. Alright, so I'm going to turn the painting around now so that you can see what I'm going to be doing up here. I don't want it laying in that paint because then it just really destroys a few things. It's way too much paint underneath. Now, don't worry too much about paint getting on my table because this table itself is going to soon be done so that it is sanded because it's an old table and it's needing to be sanded, smoothed out. All right, yep, that's me. I've got paint on me again. All right, so let's try to see where we're going here. Uh-oh, stuck my thumb in the wet paint. Durr. I told you there's always going to be something. All right, I need another paper towel, and I think I used all of them. So what I do is with normal size paper towels, I will put them in half and use only half a sheet at a time. I don't like to select the size because they are not equal to a half of a regular paper towel, and therefore they don't have enough for me to be happy with it. I'll be done in just a moment here. My station is set up so that I have everything at my fingertips because there is nothing worse. All right. Than needing something and not having it near you. Okay, so a little bit more white for the waves and we will be good. We need cresting waves. I'm just going to bring the cresting up. All right. Now I get to blow the paint at me. And so yeah, many of my articles of clothing happen to be just a little bit on the painted side. A little bit more. Gotta bring it up into here. Just a little. All right. Well, maybe just a smidge more. We don't want the paint to be lost again in the bluer colors. So we're going to give it a shot. Oops, I see bubbles. Don't want bubbles. There we go. Get rid of those little guys. And begin. Just a little bit longer. There we go. And okay, now this blotch I've got to add a little bit of pouring medium on top of it and around it so that it travels like it should. All right, here we go. So if you ever get stuck where your paint isn't moving, you can use your pouring medium for that. And then what I like to do is put my glove back on. And we do want those blended edges. So as you can tell how transparent my pouring medium is, what we are going to do is make sure that is on my finger properly, because I don't want it kind of bunching up on there. So what we're going to do, oopsie, we're going to take this just a little bit that way. Try not to dip as deep as I've been doing here for a moment. You want to just barely touch and bring up. And I just can't seem to do that today. So we're just going to tap onto it. Try to get rid of the harsh edge. And then I'm going to stick my finger into the drippings here. And then we're going to take it up and over. And I still am not getting it just right. So I'll probably have to blow that section if I can't get it to stop scooping the paint. Because that's what it's doing, it's scooping. Okay, that's a little bit better. Maybe if I use the other finger. We're going to take this up, stick my finger in the other paint. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take the gloves off. And I have this awesome little spray bottle that I keep around me at all times. And it's got a little bit of Sensi water. And I have another one that has all clear water from my filter system. And then we just clean off the fingers a little bit. And then we spray another one to rinse it off. Get a paper towel and dry our little fingers off. Because I'm going to try some finger painting here. I prefer everything to go organically. But unfortunately, not starting to look like fingers. Unfortunately, sometimes you just have to go with the flow of things. Let's add a little bit more white there. And we just dip our fingers into the white. Make it spread a little. Gotta do that again. Just little dobs of white. Alright, here we go. this will be the last time of touching up. I just wanted something a little bit more than I had, because waves come in and roll. Okay. And I suppose just a smidge more, just to get that little bit of white foamy effect. And if I could just be a little bit gentler, that would be great. Okay, my painting for me is done. I'm sure that a lot of you will find something that you didn't like about it, which is fine because we all have our own tastes in what is considered our idea of done. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glow here for the purpose of getting this to dry just a little bit faster. All right, it is now considered done, and I want to thank everybody for checking out my channel. If you do like what you see, I would greatly appreciate a little help in getting somewhere enough that I have enough subscribers and likes to be able to get me up there in the algorithms, and just so that I can maybe reach a few more people. I am not in this to make cash. This is, for me, my stress relieving. And so if you find anything of value in this video or any of my future videos, if you would, I would greatly appreciate the subscription, the like, and if you could, maybe share it. All right, people, you have a wonderful day. I'm going to have a wonderful day and wait for this to dry. Talk to you all the next video.